Mosul, Iraq is hard to get to. It's not a place many people go, especially since 2014 when ISIS, or Daesh as the Iraqis call them, invaded the country and took Mosul as part of their caliphate. But what few seem to know is that Daesh was pushed out of Mosul and Iraq as a whole in 2017. And through the pandemic and beyond, the Iraqis have been rebuilding the city that they love.
Mosul is bisected by the Tigris River and has a civilization that goes back at least 4 millennia to the heart of the Assyrian Empire. This is a breadth and depth of culture that is hard to grasp. It's especially hard when our modern understanding is so clouded by war and the nightly newscast.
We are invited to follow a US-based organization called Hardwired Global as they cultivate pluralism and freedom of consciousness in a region plagued by fear, suspicion, and as we soon found out, an intense joy and desire to heal. Day one starts out with a trip to a formerly ISIS-controlled school in Nimrod for a community event around the Hardwired program, an extremely conservative city just south of Mosul. The Hardwired team, led by Tina Ramirez, was concerned about the cameras at the first sight. They thought we might need to wait in the car while they felt out the situation. They were wrong.
The joy is doubled.
Yes.
As you are here today, and secondly, because of the weather is good.
Let me just say, I'd love to see the children, and every time we come to a community, you can see that the hard work that they do makes a future for everybody.
طبعا يعجبني من ازور مناطق.
No, شكرا. No, thank you.
Thank you.
No, شكرا.
After the initial shock and excitement, it settled into a school event pattern any parent would recognize. Welcomes, speeches, and blessings. After the Iraqi national anthem was a recitation from the Quran, followed by Tina's greetings and thanks.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you for having us. We're so thankful to be here and for all of the teachers that have been working so hard with you over this past year, and to get to meet all of the leaders from the village that are supporting this program. Thank you, Hannah. Oh, perfect.
The director of the Hammurabi Human Rights Organization, Johanna, kicked off another series of thank yous to the local leaders. Hammurabi is the local partner that makes Hardwired's work possible in this difficult region.
We
are gathered here to fight against extremism, to build a community for all people against extremism, where we are united and working together as one. So Najib is our master trainer who has been working here with teachers and students for the past 2 years.
Hardwired and their master trainers have partnered with over 40 state-run schools in Mosul and the Nineveh Plains to train teachers in a program promoting religious and cultural diversity and coexistence, what they call pluralism.
That's one of the religious leaders of the community. It's a first time when people from East and people from the West are combined by soul in this ceremony. And we need this kind of collaboration among humans from different parts of the world.
Finally, the students came out to perform Futopia, part of the Hardwired training curriculum. It's a play about the importance of tolerance, pluralism, and human freedom told through the lens of different fruits. Though it seems quaint, it's a framework to have hard conversations and a perfect example of the way Hardwired's grassroots education and training is impacting communities.
The end of the play transitions seamlessly into a full-on celebration. We took the opportunity to speak with a teacher, Hiba, and some of the students who went through the Hardwired program.
Can someone tell us what they learn about the program?
In Futopia, the different fruits were actually fighting against each other and hating each other. However, at the end, they learned that they have to be one community working together. And this is so much like what happened in Iraq. But now we are back uniting together, helping each other, because this is the only way for Iraq to flourish.
What is it about the play that helps them think about how they can make the future better?
She learned from Futopia that she should befriend with everybody, even if they were poorer, richer, or different. We should always spread love, and we should never hate anybody.
These are very good answers.
هيدي أجوبة كتير حلوة وذكية.
Can she talk about how long she was a teacher and then what changes has she seen during the time that she's been a teacher here in this school?
Before Dash, I was not a teacher, but during Dash, a lot of kids, they either lost their parents or they had lost their homes. And because of that, it was my moral duty to work with them. And that's why I went to becoming a teacher.
Is she optimistic about the future?
She's saying that, of course, she's very optimistic, especially that these kids, they have built a conception of what is right and what is wrong.
What is one thing that they could say to Americans back in the United States?
I want to tell them just be kind to others all the time. Iraq is paradise. Whoever comes here gets to learn about Iraq's generosity, Iraq's beauty, and they will never want to leave.
I love it. That's good.
The kids in America and the kids here, we are very similar, and we should talk more to one another.
Wow.
I think she has something beside you to say.
Yeah, she's...
I just wish that all these wars would end because we have seen lots of people dying. It's terrifying and it makes every child afraid, and I don't want to be afraid anymore.
At that point, school let out and many of the students had to leave.
Two students, Sama and Wallah, who lost their fathers, stayed behind to talk. It was difficult for them to do so, but they wanted us to know about the future they hoped for.
She can talk or not. It's fine.
She didn't have to talk.
She wants to work and fight for human rights and humanity and her nation and the rights of all people all over the world. I want to send a message to the world. I want to tell them that no child should live but joyfully. And I have lost the joy since I lost my father. I just wish that no one would lose their dad. And I know that to have this, we should all work for our country.
Thank them for their courage to tell us.
بشكركم كتير على شجاعتكم كتير كتير.
Their father would be very proud of them.
Yeah.
كتير فخورين فيكم وبحبكم بياتكم يعني أبو. نحن لازم نفل بس أنا حضلني عم بسأل مس هبة عنكم. أوكي؟ باي. I love you. شكرا مس هبة.
These are tough but inspiring stories and familiar to anyone who stayed through the occupation of Daesh.
Mosul is one of the most religiously and culturally diverse regions in the world that has a long history of tolerance peppered by spikes of sectarian violence.
The terror of Daesh has steeped fear of the others in the different communities, but the vast majority of the population embraces and reveres the diversity that Daesh tried to destroy.
We headed to another community event in Tel Kaif, less conservative but just as exuberant.
After the event, we spoke with one of their teachers, Mahmoud, a native of Mosul for more than 30 years.
My role is, first of all, to teach them the basic principles of education as an academic. However, there's a role that's deeper than that, which is teaching them about the values, the moralities, and get them to live together. If they're Arabs, they're Yazidis, they're Kurds from different backgrounds.
So many of the children that we've met have hard stories. How have you seen changes from the children?
At first, they rejected it. Before the program, they didn't have a lot of communication together, and they were bullying each other. Now, after they worked together from different classes on the program, they became more considerate towards each other's emotions, and the level of bullying in the school generally has decreased. It made it possible to communicate with the kids at their own level. It brought up the child in him as well.
He's more like a banana, not like a coconut.
Okay, more flexible.
How are the parents responding to the Futopia play?
Futopia. The parents were very supportive of the program. They were actually encouraging for more expansion of the program.
You've spent 20 years in war. These kids have spent their whole life in war. Are you optimistic about the future?
I'm the most optimistic person. Tomorrow is certainly a better day, and those kids are the future. I'm not biased about being Iraqi, but we are number one.
So good to meet you. Yeah.
We traveled into Mosul proper to Mar Thoma Syriac Christian Church for a view of the city. The church dates back to the 8th century, with the current structure having been built in the 14th. Like most of West Mosul, it was not spared by ISIS, but its bells were the first to ring out once the occupation ended.
Hardwired works in difficult places all over the world, from Sudan to Kuwait to parts of South America. We spoke with Tina about the how and why of its creation.
Our ability to live in freedom is really the most important thing that we have as human beings. The freedom to worship, to have your conscience not invaded or suppressed by others, to have hope, and to live with dignity, regardless of who they are, what they believe, what their ethnic or religious background is. And so we work to help communities that don't have that kind of freedom have it. And in many places in the world, there isn't a culture of pluralism where the freedom of religion, of belief, of conscience can exist. This destruction here is the epitome of that. Daesh came in and people didn't believe like them, they killed. Even within their own faith community, they had no space for any kind of diversity of thought or opinion. Christians, Yazidis, Baha'is, Jews, and you name it, were literally being erased from the culture. And so in that context, we go in and we help leaders at the governmental level and within the legal profession and the advocacy world work together to develop legal protections for basic rights and freedoms, and the freedom of conscience in particular.
You guys actually have created quite an infrastructure here, and I can't help but notice coming in that it's because you seem to get the respect and love of the people and the communities.
Because the Iraqis have seen people come and go time and again after different conflicts, they really don't trust a lot of outsiders. And so because I've been here for 20 years in different roles, they trust me. But at the same time, we're always working at the grassroots level with the community because you can't have one without the other. You can't have the court of law without the court of public opinion.
Actually, and it's so interesting because we happen to be here on the 20th anniversary-ish of when the U.S. came in. You know, I mean, where are we?
The horrors of Saddam and the horrors of ISIS, Muslim and Christian and Yazidi and everybody else alike don't want to go backwards. They only want to go forward. They want those bells to ring because they feel like there's something missing without the diversity in the community, without the Christians and the Yazidis and the others. It doesn't feel right.
What makes a lasting peace?
Like the age-old question. I don't know. I can't say like I have the answer to world peace. I'm sorry, Earl. I'm sorry. What makes peace, I think it means really changing the way you think about others. It has to start one by one. The children, because the children are changed, parents are now being changed. It has this resounding effect on the community, and that's what's going to bring peace in a community, in a family, in a school, and in the country. Education really is the tool for the bottom-up approach of ensuring that generations of children don't go up being reinforced by these ideas of hate and intolerance and violence that they've literally just seen all their lives. We work in the hardest places because most people don't go there. The work that we're doing here will have an impact on the broader region. You know, for so long, I think many of these countries have been told you have to look and sound a certain way to be free. There's no model for what that looks like. There's no recipe. They need to find it themselves.
Despite all the rubble, you're in a place of beauty, a place of love, and there's so many people, Muslim or Christian or Yazidi, and they welcome you in. The joke is that we've been fed too much. Everywhere we go, come eat, come eat.
Yes, welcome to Iraq where you'll never go hungry again. We're both inspired by the work that you've done. You don't do it alone. You do it with your team, but you also have these partnerships that you have elsewhere. I would just say it is important. It feels very important.
And I'm not sure I would have ever come here. You've helped give us the courage to be here, so thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome. I'm so glad you did because I want the world to see it, what it was, what it could be, what it will become. So many Americans and British and others lost their lives helping the people of Iraq over the years. And I think it's important for them to see how the people are taking freedom in their own hands and planting those seeds of freedom for their future and for their future generations, to know that their sacrifice wasn't for naught.
Our final event was at one of their most difficult schools. We spoke with Master Trainer Rua about her work.
Why is it difficult, the schools that you work with?
It's very difficult because there's a people, they were persecuted by ISIS, and the other, they were involved with ISIS. Each side give his excuses.
And this wasn't just the children, this was also the teachers, right?
There was a training, and that hall up, one of the participants, the attendant, her brother was with ISIS, and he killed the brother of another participant. So that one, who her brother was murdered, she wanted to withdraw from the program.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
So in the same classroom.
بعدين أنا تحدثت كل من يعني يوم كامل من التدريب وكانت 3 أيام.
I talked with them both. So she told them they passed away both, but you are the loser.
If we continue in this,
if you keep going.
If you keep going, everyone's a loser. But I think about how hard the work is that you do, and then for something like today,
yes,
where everyone can celebrate and see. It's amazing.
يعني هذا الشيء اللي أنا جو من حالم. إنه أنا ثاني تجربة هنا.
I'm so happy, you know, and I surprised that they came and very excited to attend.
How are the children now?
كلش متغيرين. يعني أنا بشهادة أحد الأهالي هسه قد قال لي مو معلمة.
Wow, you can't imagine the conceptual change occurred on students, and one of the parents, she came and told her, you did a great job. We can't. Yeah.
Rua, let me tell you this, and this is honest. We hear a lot of stories, but this is a good story.
Thank you very much.
Very good story.
If it can change here, if the change can happen, then it inspires all of us. We met Kais, a hardwired master trainer outside the school towards the end of the event. He is working to help train and advise the Directorate of Education in Mosul to empower them to continue the program on their own.
You're from Mosul?
All my life in my Mosul.
Yeah. So this is a place you love.
Yes.
But it wasn't that long ago we had ISIS come in.
Yes,
And a lot of people left.
Yes.
Muslims and Christians or whatever.
Left.
But you decided to stay.
I decided to stay.
Why did you stay?
Because it's my country. It's my town. When they come, my son is born. Yes. Sister and brother, my father and my mother, I can't leave. Life stopped. We hear that this family killed, this family one killed.
You start to talk about the work that you do with Hardwired. Growing up in this city, what do you think the impact is for you?
The important impact to me, that pluralism. I remember ISIS, when he came to Mosul, he said that his rules.
Yeah, the rules, yeah.
To all people. Everyone want to change the rule, he will kill us. He killed all the people. Sunni, Shi'i, Masihi, Yazidi. It is not my life.
Right.
I love all the people. I love the dignity, human dignity. I remember in Hardwired talk about story. The girl, she loved life. And the judge asked to kill her.
Right.
Because she changed the rule.
I remember this story too. I sat through one of the trainings myself.
Yes.
This is Mary
Dyer. Yes.
Mary Dyer was an American. She was a Puritan.
Yes, Puritan.
And so when you think about the oppression that we had, in the northeast of the United States,
yes.
in a very conservative, area, exactly.
Yes.
These themes, these topics, they're universal.
Yes.
Everyone needs someone to protect.
Him.
Human rights.
You have twins like me, and you were saying earlier that when ISIS came,
yes.
life stopped.
Yes, life stopped.
But now with your twins, life started again.
Yeah, life started again, yes.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
And
yes.
one day your twin 1-year-olds, they will grow up, they will have their own families.
Yes.
Do you hope that they'll stay in Mosul?
Oh, I like. I am so interesting. Inshallah.
Yeah.
I'm so interested.
Now, what a blessing it is that you're part of making Mosul the future for your children and their children.
And their children and their children. Because it's my town and I love it so much.
Shukran, Habibi.
Shukran, Habibi. Yeah.
The work Hardwired and Hammurabi are doing is facilitating change through partnership and an empowerment of the people to build the lives and communities they want to live in. It is inspiring to see hope and healing in a city scourged by war and suffering. Maslawis have a passion and a love for their home, rivaled only by their wish to restore it to the center of cultural and religious freedom it used to be.
Mosul, Iraq is not a place many people go, yet. Change is coming, and the whole world deserves the opportunity to experience the heritage, the hospitality, warmth, and love of the Maswali people.